Hi, today I'm going to explain a movie that will blow your mind. Today's movie, Parasyte Part 1. The movie starts with us seeing some strange creatures emerging from the seabed and heading towards the city. These strange-looking creatures are called parasites. Anyway, one of these parasites enters the ear of a sleeping man. The man initially twitches a bit, then falls back to sleep normally. Then we are shown Shinichi, who is the main character of this movie. That night, Shinichi was sleeping when a bug tried to enter his body, but because he had earphones in his ears, the bug couldn't enter through his ears. So the bug tries to enter through Shinichi's nose. Shinichi realizes this in his sleep, and, thinking it's a regular bug, pulls it out of his nose and throws it against the wall. Then he tries to stomp on the bug, but it jumps and enters his hand. He then ties his hand with his earphone cord, and because of the tight binding, the bug couldn't move upwards. Meanwhile, his mother enters his room, and when she sees his hand, the bug merges with his skin. The next morning, Shinichi feels something strange in his hand but ignores it and goes to school. During class, he notices that something is definitely wrong. Then, when his hand reaches to pick up an eraser from the floor, something strange happens. Later, during a basketball game, he makes an incredible shot. At home, Shinichi researches the hand that moves on its own, online. While browsing, suddenly an eye appears on his hand. Curious, he tries to cut the eye out of his hand with a knife. But suddenly, his hand transforms into a strange snake. He gets very scared. Soon, it starts to behave somewhat friendly. After a while, a face appears on his hand, and an eye on one finger, and the other 4 fingers transform into the creature's hands and legs. Frightened, Shinichi demands his hand back, but the creature reveals that it has eaten all the cells in that area, and he will never get it back. After a sleepless night, Shinichi goes to school, where the creature in his hand tells him to call it Miji. At school, Miji tells Shinichi to go to the library to study. Miji develops rapidly in all these areas. Meanwhile, other parasites are attacking their hosts' bodies, eating their brains, and using them to hunt humans. After class, as Shinichi was heading home, Miji takes him to another location, where Shinichi sees a human body with a cauliflower-like head. This creature is eating human waste. When it sees Shinichi, it transforms into a human form. It thinks Shinichi is also infected, so it offers Shinichi a human hand to eat. But when the creature realizes that the parasite inside Shinichi hasn't harmed him, the creature transforms back into its terrifying form and attacks Shinichi. But Miji, Shinichi's hand, protects him and kills the terrifying creature. Meanwhile, people are dying all over the city, but the authorities have no idea who is killing them. Anyway, the next day in class, Miji senses that there is another parasite nearby and informs Shinichi. Just then, the principal introduces a new teacher, Ryoko, and Shinichi realizes that this woman is also a parasite, meaning there is a parasite in her body. After class, the teacher tells Shinichi that he doesn't need to be afraid of her, because she doesn't eat humans, she is just learning human ways of life from within them. Then the teacher introduces him to 2 other parasites. One is Shimada, and the other is Mr. A. Here, the teacher tells him that she is pregnant, and the father of the baby in her womb is the parasite inside the police officer. So, Ryoko, the teacher, wants them to live normally with humans and offers Shinichi to join their group if he wants. But Shinichi refuses their offer. The next day, that police officer blocks Shinichi's path, suspecting that Shinichi killed the butcher. Miji warns Shinichi that the police officer's demeanor is not good. Before he finishes speaking, the police officer attacks Shinichi. Shinichi fights back and kills the police officer. However, the parasite inside the police officer is not dead yet, and it leaves his body and enters the body of a woman on the street. And that woman is none other than Shinichi's mother. Then, Shinichi's mother comes to kill him. Miji is also ready to fight with her, but Shinichi tells him, "Don't you dare harm my mother, or I'll cut off my hand." Shinichi calms Miji with these words, but his mother takes the opportunity and stabs him in the stomach, and Shinichi dies there. The next day, Shinichi recovers and stands up again. Miji tells him that to save his life, he had to give him his body cells, making Shinichi fully infected now. Anyway, Shinichi and Miji go out to find his mother. Meanwhile, the authorities have learned that some parasites have come to the city and are killing people, so they have started an investigation. Shinichi wants to get his mother back at any cost, as he has no one else in the world. Unable to find his mother, he goes to the teacher, assuming that since the parasite inside the police officer entered his mother's body, and since that parasite has a relationship with the parasite in the teacher's body, the teacher will know where his mother is. But the teacher tells him nothing, and Shinichi returns home disappointed. Miji informs Shinichi that he will have to sleep for 4 hours from now on, during which time he will not be able to help Shinichi. Since Shinichi has Miji's cells in his body, Shinichi has also gained some superpowers. Anyway, Shinichi cleverly provides the investigation officers with some information about the parasites. He even reveals that he himself is a parasite. With the information received, they start the investigation, and they find out that many government officials are in favor of these parasites. Meanwhile, the teacher's parents come to visit her, but her parents didn't know that their daughter is no longer their daughter, and a terrifying parasite lives inside her. Right then, the parasite inside the teacher kills her parents. And here, we realize that these parasites didn't want anyone to know about them. The next day at school, Shinichi sees that the teacher's parasite-infected student has joined as a drawing teacher. He was pretending to befriend Shinichi slowly, but gradually, all the students realize that the teacher is a parasite, which is why he attacks all the students and kills many of them. Then his attention falls on Shinichi's girlfriend, Satomi. Satomi throws a bottle of acid, which hits Shimada's face and burns it completely. Taking this opportunity, all the students try to escape. At that moment, Shinichi hears the girl's screams and comes upstairs, rescuing his girlfriend Satomi. Meanwhile, the female teacher blows up the entire school, because the parasite Shimada is in bad shape and would be a liability if he survived, so she blows up the school to kill everyone and leave no witnesses. But even after such a big explosion, Shimada doesn't die. Instead, he starts killing the officers who came to investigate. Shinichi knew that Shimada wouldn't die so easily, so he goes to the roof of another building and kills Shimada with an arrow. Finally, Shinichi goes to the teacher's house again and asks for the address of the police officer Mr. A's house. The teacher gives him the address, and at that address, Shinichi sees that his mother is no longer human, but the parasite has taken control of her. He didn't want to hurt his mother in any way, but at one point, he realizes that his mother is no longer alive, and what is standing in front of him is just her body. And in the meantime, Miji falls asleep, so it's impossible for Shinichi to defeat his mother alone. Anyway, after a long fight, Shinichi cuts off the parasite's head, and with the parasite, his mother also dies. In the end, we see that in the city's election, the man who was in favor of the parasites wins. Then, Shinichi goes to the hospital to see Satomi, where he tells Miji that he will now kill all the parasites one by one. At that moment, we see someone watching Shinichi, and the Parasite Part 1 movie ends. Those who want to see the second part of this movie, please let us know in the comments. And if you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. We'll talk in the next video. Until then, stay well, bye.